I think India has a lot of challenges. You have to, first of all, try to understand why certain things work the way they work. So first thing is, of course, understanding how can you best set up your business. So what kind of licenses you do have to apply for. Whom can you trust? Because everybody will give you some kind of an answer. Nobody says no. This country is all about uncertainty. Even the government releases a new budget, there's still a lot of uncertainty how to interpret that. Maharashtra by itself, I think, is a very interesting state. You have a port of Bombay, which is fairly close and is still the biggest and most efficient port which we have in India. And I would say, like, a wider area of Aurangabad going all the way to Pune. You could say that Pune is somehow the Detroit of India. The first brand from the Volkswagen Group who entered the Indian market was 1999 Skoda. Skoda set up the plant in Aurangabad and started producing the Octavia at that time. And then they've been here for quite a while. And in the Volkswagen Group in 2005 started a project for the other brands to consider India as a new market. And in 2007 Audi set up a shop here in Bombay, the sales office first, and then today we are assembling our Audis in India at the Skoda plant in Aurangabad. We have quite a substantial amount of local content and local value addition we do already today in Aurangabad, which makes it go beyond the CKD. We are parts and component importer, and based on that we have quite a substantial local value addition. In 2008-09, Volkswagen set up a big plant in Pune, where today you have a Polo being produced, the Vento, and also now the Skoda Fabia. Suppliers do follow you as a manufacturer as soon as you give them a decent business case. Now, as Audi alone, probably that would have been more of a challenge, but as a part of a group, where we do have, of course, certain components which are common among the cars, especially among similar product platforms. Of course, we could convince them, and some of the suppliers have been here already, like a Bosch. Bosch Micro is a very big supplier already in India for various OEMs. We have a global purchasing office which is based in Pune, so the global purchasing office is looking at supplies to be sourced for India, but also globally. And there are certain numbers of product categories which definitely are very competitive today already in India, whether it's die casting, where India is a very competitive sourcing ground, or aluminium alloy wheels, cable harnesses. So we're quite a number of components which do make sense to look at India as a sourcing point. Bombay and Delhi are the key markets, and Bombay and Delhi together you have around about 40 to 50% minimum of the Indian market, whether it's luxury goods or whether it's cars or luxury cars. This is where the buying power is, and that's what we learned yesterday also from McKinsey. Of course, that's where the buying power is, but when you have surprise cities which have a very specific strong industry in one area, but these guys have a very strong buying power, whether it's the jewelers in Gujarat, or some other traders in other parts of the country. Some parts even you have people who are making cash money, like farmers, or selling land. And suddenly we have a lot of money, and they want to spend it, and they want to have fun with it. There are cities which surprise you when you suddenly realize what kind of cars are sold. Like Jalandhar, Ludhiana are cities which I personally, coming as a European, would not have on my radar screen. But you realize that people sitting on cash, they have a lot of land, they have certain trading businesses, and suddenly in Ludhiana alone we're going to deliver 3 A8s to one single customer. Chinese really want and need a lot of brands. They love it. It's part of their lifestyle, of their exposure. Again, more like Russia, you know. These brands form part of their personality. So this brand addiction in China is, of course, extremely strong. While Indians perceive themselves already as strong personalities, so this brand addiction has not grown into them as much as you see it maybe in a market like China. Maybe it's changing, probably it's changing. You see a lot of things that this consumerism is taking over in a stronger way. It didn't used to be around like 5 or 10 years ago. So there's a tendency it goes in that direction, but probably is not as exponential as we saw it in China. Any Chinese secretary needs to have a Gucci, Prada, or whatever Valentino handbag. It's part of their must-haves. That hasn't grown into India yet. They're still very happy with the local bags they have, the local dresses they have. This brand addiction has not reached the lower or medium middle class. It's very much only in the upper middle class yet. I think to compare India and China is probably as odd as comparing Russia and Italy. Because they're completely two different markets with completely two different psychologies, with completely two different histories. India is the biggest, largest, and one of the oldest democracies, at least in this part of the world, while China is very centrally ruled. India is lagging a lot of infrastructure China has, but they have a lot of brain power. So you can't compare the markets really. India is similar like Italy, is a small car market. Still a predominant supply of cars is what we call A0 or A00 segment. So where you have in Italy the Puntos and Unos and these cars, that's where you have here the Maruttis. So where China is very much a large car market, so more like a Russian market. You have 35 billionaires living in India, and nobody can tell you exactly how many US dollar millionaires are, but calculations go around 150 to 200,000 easily. In India, what we're producing right now is the A4, the A6 and the Q5. They're all produced, manufactured in Aurangabad. The luxury car market last year was around about 16,000 cars, because some numbers are not 100% exact, where we took a share of around about a little bit more than 20%. This year we look at the total luxury market around about 22,000 cars. As I said, we want to grow by at least 50%. We're looking this year at a market share of 24-25%. And long term, we think that Audi will sell more cars in India than today we sell in Japan.